For the first time in nearly 40 years, the United States exported crude oil from Galveston, Texas to South Korea on a tanker from Singapore. Now, many companies, oil companies that is, are asking for the export ban originally passed by Congress during the 70s oil crisis to be lifted. Dan Dicker is an oil analyst and former energy trader and author of the book Oil's Endless Bid, Taming the Unreliable Price of Oil to Secure Our Economy. And he joins us right here in our New York studio. Dan, nice to meet you. Welcome to Arise America.
Thank you.
So first of all, why until recently, well, we just said a little bit in the intro, but why has it taken so long for this ban to be lifted?
No, it's really inertia. It's really nothing but that. These are one of those laws that get on the books and they're very difficult to turn back. There's lots of reasons at this point now where it might be a time where we end the U.S. Crude oil export ban.
And at this point, is it a matter of political might? Is it a matter of advocacy that will either clog up or open up this channel?
Well, there's good cases for both sides of this, but from the case of the oil companies, it's really all about money. Crude oil here in the United States runs somewhere between a $3 to a $20 discount to crude oil barrels being priced everywhere else in the world. So obviously there are a lot of oil companies out there, particularly in some of the major shale plays that have come along in the last 3 or 4 years that are developing enormous amounts of domestic crude oil that want access to those markets. It obviously means better profits for them and their shareholders.
You know, part of President Obama's administration agenda is to make the United States energy independent so that we're not importing energy from any other place in the world. So I guess my question to you is, why would we want to export oil that we have? Why not use it here domestically?
Right, and that's it can be a complex question. Some of the answer in that is, number one, the United States will never be energy independent, at least if it comes to crude oil. Even now, with the explosion of oil that we've created in this country, we still import almost 50% of the oil that we need on a daily basis. Most of it doesn't come from the Middle East anymore. That's the plus side. It comes mostly from Canada, and it comes from Mexico. However, what you don't want is you don't want to be taking oil that is a limited quantity here in the United States and necessarily open the floodgates to American producers to producing that oil and then pushing it outside our borders. At some point, we will need those supplies,
right?
Even if it's not exactly right now.
And give me some numbers then. How much crude oil can the U.S. produce?
Well, we're here, and to show you how spectacular the rise has been, since 2008, we've increased production from about 5.5 million barrels a day to close to 9 million barrels a day, and the American agency, the Energy Agency, expects us to increase that another million or 1.2 million barrels by 2016. So that'll bring us above 10 million barrels a day, which is actually more than Saudi Arabia makes.
Wow, and where's the oil coming from? And I think historically we associate oil production certainly with Texas and maybe even Oklahoma. But where are the pockets now?
Right, and they're still in Texas, and for the most part, but it is a new technology, because what we used to do was a very old technology, kind of what you remember from the Houston movies of derricks and spinning wheels and oil gushing out of the ground. That was a very simple technology, which the Saudis still use. But this shale process forces us to go very deep into the ground and actually horizontally through shale and then stimulate the shale in order to release shale oil. That has re-enlivened some of the oil plays that we thought, in fact, were dead even 4 or 5 years ago. And that's really what's led to the rise of production here in the United States.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're describing fracking right there.
That's exactly right.
Which is very controversial. A lot of environmentalists fighting vigorously against it.
Indeed.
So who would be the U.S.'s biggest customers in terms of exported oil?
Well, mostly it's Asia, because they are energy hungry from all levels: oil, natural gas, everything. You know how intensely the Japanese, for example, rely on nuclear energy from Fukushima just a year and a half ago. So there is energy needed out in Asia, and they do not have the resources that the United States does for fracking and creating new sources of domestic energy like we do.
Should this ban be completely lifted? What might it mean for our economy?
I'm not in favor of lifting the ban, but I do understand the desire of oil companies here in the United States to have free market access to international markets in the same way that they have free market access, for example, for corn and coal. I mean, a good argument can be made. Why is crude oil different?
Very, very interesting indeed. Dan Dicker,
thanks.
thank you so much. Nice
You're
to
welcome.
talk to you. And this is Arise America.